guys, you mentioned Damon Arnett, Draymond Jones. How are they? How did you come out of that game? Because you used the word sledgehammer.
Yeah, it was a tough game. It was Draymond's probable. He has a sprain, but he's very probable. Damon Arnett's probable, and B.B. Landers didn't play himself, and Mike Weber didn't play himself. And they're closer and closer. They're better than they were last week.
And also, just what did you, in a situation like that, when JT was a freshman, we talked about that Penn State game was where he, really grew. I'm wondering from Dwayne's case, struggling or whatever, but then comes up big, 96-yard drive. What did you learn about him? What did you learn about your team in that environment coming back?
Yeah, I've those are usually conversations after the season, because we're right in it, and our focus is, all due respect to everybody here, to start reflecting. We got to get ready for a really good Indiana team that's at least 4-1. So at times we'll have that chat, but not now.
Front row middle, Dave.
Urban, if you're facing a 4th and inches situation, I know you guys are in the shotgun all the time, but why not mix in some quarterback sneaks in those situations?
A lot of different reasons. When you see teams a lot that's operating 99.999 out of the shotgun, and then they go under center and they drop the ball. Just because you don't do it. We've had those conversations over and over again. We did it a couple of times with Cardinal Jones, 14, I think. Those are conversations. I'm just answering your questions. I'm not saying we won't.
I mean, I guess the follow-up would be like, why not just practice it more? Because it seems like such an effective play in football.
Fully noted.
Thank you.
4th row back, Andrew.
Coach, a lot has been said about this group of receivers in terms of the weapons they are on the outside, but to have success in the screen game like you did Saturday, there has to be great blocking outfield. Can you talk about this group of receivers?
The elite blocking. Great's probably not a strong enough adjective right now for what's going on out there. And that's Hartline's done a great job, but we've got 3 captains. Ben Victor. I'm saying this because I love him. Darn near refused to block. Didn't play a whole lot. He had one of the biggest blocks of the game Saturday. One of the down the left sideline. Can't remember who caught the ball. Karen caught the ball. I care about him blocking, and it was elite. We had a little moment together with the receivers, and Ben Victor. He's become, as Paris said, he's become one of us. And that's a pretty cool thing.
2nd row middle, James.
Urban, we haven't seen in the past a lot of running back screens with this offense. We've seen the bubble screens and the RPO. We saw a lot of that with JK on Saturday. How much of that is maybe Ryan Day's influence, or just the personnel that you guys have?
We're running together a lot, and it's just we're a different team. We're the drop back pass. We're dropping back a lot, and so what's the natural progression is tailback slow screen, and that was of the big plays. I think Ben Victor's was number 1. I think on the 4-yard line coming out, that's number 2. The slow screen to JK.
And 3rd row, Dan.
You talked about Terry McLaurin and what he's done, the little things he does. How important is it for you to recognize someone like him as an offensive player of the game and make that example that it's not just about catching passes?
Well, it was the 7th year. That's always been kind of a, this unselfish player. It's the same thing when people, I see people smile. It's not real funny around here. When you score a touchdown, you go hug the lineman. You flip the ball to the official and you go hug the lineman. If not, you're not going to score anymore, because it's the selfless, it's the fellowship of a team. That's what it's all about. And so we spent, usually it's a 30-minute team meeting, probably 45 minutes yesterday, and every player on the team watched the punt. Every player on the team. And there's 2 reasons you do that. Number 1 is to show and reward the efforts of a player. But I'm also talking to that player in row 9 that is a 4-star guy that thinks he's real good. But why aren't you on KOR, or why are you not running down on punts? Explain that to the team here right now. And those are hard conversations to have, especially when you see Okuda and Terry. So we do that, and what I do with you is minimal compared to what we do with the team, because it's a belief of our program.
Also, KJ Hill scored the game-winning touchdown the other night. It seems like he has a knack for coming up with big plays and big games. What is it about him that you think?
He's just what you said. He's a tough dude, man, and he's a really good football player. And his ball skills are, he had the 1 catch on other bubble screen, and he's a great blocker, so he can do it all.
Front row left, Doug?
Urban, whenever you talk about like having the drop back passer this year, and you saw Trace running out there, and we know how successful you've been with the quarterback, the dual threat quarterback in your career, is there just a part of you that just still is not 100% comfortable with the idea of you just don't have a quarterback, right? He's great, but he's just not going to run 20 times. Is that still hard for you at all?
That's a good question.
I think it is. My guess would be it is.
Okay.
So what's your answer?
We're 5-0.
No, I know, absolutely.
I have two very good coaches. More than that, I have a very good offensive staff. It's a comfort zone, like on short yardage, that I've been used to, and I've heard people say, "Oh, you're gonna go running the quarterback again." But usually you see the official do this.
I made that joke for 5 years, but it worked every time, right? I mean, that's
Not every time.
most of the time.
You said you made that joke?
Every
You're
time
one
on
of those
Twitter.
guys?
Absolutely. Quarterback draw on third
No,
down, but it
I
works.
think those are great questions. We've had it. We've had Cardell. I had Chris League at Florida. I had Alex Smith. It was a little bit of a dual threat, but he was more of a drop back guy. That's our philosophy. Who's the best quarterback out there? Is Dwayne Haskins. He's playing his off, and so keep doing it. So yeah, I know one thing also is very comfortable now seeing those screens come out of his hands so fast and seeing them, pinpoint accuracy. There's certain times of the game that I'm used to having something in my pocket that it's not there. And we had two situations Saturday that we have to figure that out. One we didn't make it, one we made it by that. And so those are all questions that we have. But to say I'm not comfortable, that's not fair.
But it's the whole thing, right? Of you maybe have a philosophy as a coach, but you do what's best for your talent.
Always.
You fit it. You've always said that.
Always.
But this is that in action, right?
Sure, this is exactly this. And we're throwing for 340 a game or something like that, and we're winning games. That's our job. We're taking care of the football, and we're throwing the ball and utilizing some very good players, and he's a very good player.
And you mentioned earlier the idea of you guys are not at your ceiling yet with this team. I think that's pretty obvious with the kind of talent you have out there. I'm sure at times in your career you've had teams maybe midway through the season where they're playing really well, but maybe you have an idea where it might be close to our ceiling. And then you have times where, man, maybe we're making some mistakes here and there, but there's a lot more there. How do you coach that differently?
I don't, with all due respect, it's, you went on the road twice against, in our opinion, I can't remember what TCU was ranked, but that's a top 10 team. On the road, and you went to Penn State on the road. I don't know if any schools in the country done that yet this year. We've done it, we walked away with wins. And we, by the way, also lost one of the top football players in America on defense. We're just coaching our tails off to get guys better. It's once again a call to arms, like we mentioned earlier, about young players that have to contribute. Is the ceiling here is that we don't have time.
But
we're just working on what we have to work on.
But you know how good this team is already, but you know it can even be better.
Not even close to where we're at.
Front row right, Bill?